Let me begin with my colleague on the Justice Beat, Shimon Prokupecz, CNN crime and justice producer. So, Shimon, you're just getting some brand new information. What are you learning?
Well, Pam, now that we're into about 24 hours since this attack, the FBI has learned a lot more about the shooting suspect, about his frame of mind, perhaps what he was thinking, where he was mentally, and we've learned that it appears that he had been planning this attack for some time. Now, this comes off interviews with family members and friends of the shooting suspect, and they've been able to learn that he had recently sold his vehicle, a red Ford Explorer. He had sold other personal objects, all leading investigators to believe that he was selling off his items because he had been planning this attack for some time. Today, the FBI said that they believe that he came to Fort Lauderdale, to this airport, specifically to carry out this attack. They would not say what made them believe that, but in talking to our sources, Evan Perez and I, and we've learned that now they have a better idea of what his life has been for the last several months and what he was thinking. This certainly changes things for the FBI, and they really need to consider, what motivated him and whether or not, as we know, he went to the FBI back in November, said someone was making him, intelligence agency was making him watch ISIS videos, and they're now looking at his social media, his computers to see if he was actually looking at ISIS videos and perhaps may have been inspired by those videos.
And so you say interviews with his family and friends and talking to him, piecing all that together indicates he had been planning this for some time. When you look at him selling off his items and he kind of going MIA and not responding to calls, but what about his social media activity? Have they been able to glean anything, any posts he made before the shooting rampage, Shimon?
Yeah, so they do have some postings or some writings, they're telling us. They would not go into detail about what those writings are, but they have some writings and they are looking at them and they're sort of dissecting them. This is like one big puzzle for them now, but I think they're getting closer to figuring out what happened. As you know how these things go, Pam, it takes quite some time to figure everything out, but the postings are of particular interest to them. And again, we know he had Twitter accounts and Instagram, so they're going through that. They have that, his Facebook. But still, I think the key now is going to be, what was he doing at home? Was he looking at videos, as he told the FBI back in November?
The idea that this could be terrorism, we heard last night, they're not ruling that out. We know back in November he went to the FBI and said he was hearing voices in his head pushing him to join ISIS. Do investigators have any clearer of an understanding of motive or whether terrorism could have played a role in this?
I don't get the sense that they're any clearer. Certainly in talking to them, they're not any clearer. I think they're just trying to really go back at everything now from November, before November, his time in the military, what he was doing the last year, and sort of see where his mind was. I think the key is going to be, obviously, the computers. They've talked to the family, they've talked to friends, and they've learned a lot. I mean, this have pretty much advanced the investigation in the last 24 hours, and it's just a matter of, can they say this is terrorism? I mean, it's pretty difficult to do sometimes, and they're very careful in that. And, we should see perhaps some charges today, at least one charge from the U.S. Attorney's Office, something to do with maybe shootings at an airport, some kind of charge associated with that.